David, are you trying to brainwash me? And I thought to myself when someone first said that, and I said, you're absolutely right. If brainwashing means you need to think differently to save this job, to save this industry, what do you think of when I say textiles in America? It's gone. So if brainwashing means change the way you think in order to save your job, to save an industry, guess what? If we started retaining these jobs, guess what would happen? Employment. How about this? You could put a real dent in unemployment in America. And guess what? All these people are no longer receiving unemployment checks. You know what they're doing? They're paying taxes. Do you know what that would do to our debt? Do you know the United States government runs on $300 billion a month? Do you know how much we take in? $180 billion. Do you know we borrow $120 billion a month? 41 cents on every dollar we spend, we borrow. There's a way to change this. But people have to think differently in corporate America. I want to give credit to Furman University, who the administration has supported me in all of my diverse activities all this time. So I want to publicly acknowledge President John Johns and David Emery Shai, and now Rodney Smola, because all three of those gentlemen put into the strategic plan something that a colleague of mine, Professor Tom Buford, there's a school of philosophy called personalism. And there's this notion that the development of the whole person, that means not just the intellect, but your emotional self, your social self, the physical self, all that well-being is what Furman tries to do in terms of creating a curriculum that will positively kind of nurture and develop our student body. And it's actually called the development of the whole person, which I have taken a kind of a well, it has resonated with me all along because I've always been interested in personal development, being the best you can be, and helping others to be the best you could be. So the title of this talk was Your Life is Your Monastery. So I wanted, with that long description, and forgive me and thank you for your patience, but I dedicated the book to all the employees all these years who did run with the 7 arts and proved that you can do business a different way. And the reason why I wrote the book, and Vince was kind enough to say I'm traveling around the country promoting the book, doing TV and whatever I can do, because I want to explain to America there's a better way to run an organization. We don't have to outsource if we can just give the American worker the tools to succeed. This book is dedicated to all the employees who first actively participated, then acted responsibly, then executed the business plan, then extended the benefits across the value chain from suppliers to customers. Most importantly, I'm grateful to every one of you for taking a risk and helping this 7 Arts vision become a reality. It has been my hope from the beginning that these arts might be of personal benefit to you, extended even more fully beyond the workplace. This is the fullest extension and most meaningful extension of the inclusive 7 Arts process. I hope that the quality of not only your work life, but also your personal life and spiritual life has been positively affected by our shared learning and experience. I thank you for your trust, openness, and willingness to put yourself in the place of your partner. Remember that your life itself is your true monastery. And since much of your life is spent working, why not let work itself become your whetstone for true spiritual transformation? And you don't get thrown out of the boardroom for saying things like that, because when you treat people right, guess what? All the numbers take care of themselves. You know, it's so basic. So what did I learn? In the introduction, very briefly, I'll just say I pose 6 questions. And I say if you can answer these questions, you are now creating a canvas upon which you can apply the 7 arts. So what is this canvas? This applies to any personal change that you want to make in your own personal life. And it's no different for a corporation. Why? Because a corporation is a myth. A corporation is the summary of individuals who come to work each day who either care or don't care. They either have the tools or they don't have the tools. So that this idea of this big corporation, forget it. It's just a bunch of individual people. When people ask me, why have you been so successful? 100% track record? That's amazing. Well, I can tell you, and you will know, why there's a 70 to 80% failure rate. Ready? How many of you find change easy in your personal life? How many of you have ever tried to lose weight and keep it off? How many of you have ever tried to say, you know what, I'm going to become more fit. I'm going to exercise every day. I'm going to walk. I'm going to do whatever. Yeah. So we all know it. Folks, change is hard for individuals. That's why there's a 70 to 80% failure rate. It's no different than someone saying, I'm going to quit smoking, or I'm going to stop drinking, or I'm going to stop doing whatever it is I'm doing. Because I have another theory. We are all addicts. We're all addicted. You know what we're addicted to? The way in which we've always done things. And that's the reason why there's a 70 to 80% failure rate, because as soon as some new manager comes in and says, we're going to change, people are going to resist. It's hard enough when you're really trying to keep that weight off, or to exercise more, or to stop smoking, or whatever it is. It's hard enough when you really want to. What happens if you really don't want to and you resist the people who are telling you to change? Of course, it's ridiculous. So what do you have to do? I told you it all started with assessment, or the art of preparation. The reason why there's such a failure rate when people try to change themselves, or they change in groups like a business, is because they don't know where the culture is. When I walk in to, say, a company for the first time, they might say, oh, David, nice to meet you. We've heard so much about you. I mean, I can say that now. You know, you come so highly recommended. You know, we're really excited to start working with you, or something like that. And I might sit down with he or she, the CEO, and I'd say, okay, the first thing is you're saying you want to change the culture. How quickly would you like to do it? David, I'd like to do it yesterday if we could. Right? I said, okay. There's one way we can change the culture, and I can do it tomorrow. They're going, oh my God, really? You can change the culture tomorrow? Yes, ma'am, or yes, sir, absolutely. But there's only one way, and it might be painful. Give it to me. Fire everybody. And they're like, I say, yeah, fire everybody. Well, but then we're losing all our intellectual property. We're losing all our know-how. We're losing all our experience. I said, I know, so I wouldn't do that. But if you want to change the culture, and why is it that that works for sure? Because then I'd say, where is the culture of your business? I'd say, is it in your brands? They go, no. Is it in your IT? No. Is it in your stream of products ready to be launched at any time because you've got stellar R&D? No. Is it in the fax line? No. Is it in the machines? No. And what do you think they're going to tell me? Where is the culture? It's in the people, right. And I go, oh, well, that's really great. It's in the people. But where in the people? In their elbows? In their eyebrows? Nose hairs? And they go, oh. In other words, you got to think about it a little more deeply. You know where the culture is? It's in your mind. The culture is in your mind. And the culture of your own personal life, when you start envisioning change, you need to look in the mirror and understand, just like you're at the mall and you're lost and you go to the directory and there's that little X and it says, you are here. That's where you have to start, because most people delude themselves. And senior managers are deluded because they don't really know where the mind of the people are. The only way you can know the mind is forget surveys. They don't talk back, and you might ask the wrong questions. You need to go listen. I spent a whole bunch of time out there interviewing for months on end just listening to people's perceptions of what they think about their job, what they think about management, how informed they are about the books. Do they know anything about the competition? Do they even know that Armenia is about ready to take their job if you're in rolled aluminum products in North America? And they're going, Armenia, where's Armenia on the map? They don't even know that Armenia is taking your job, even more than China, if you're in flat rolled aluminum in North America. When you start any change process, the first thing you need to do is look in the mirror and understand honestly, where are you really vis-a-vis your commitment to this change? Do you say you want to lose weight and get healthy, or are you prepared to understand what is your true mental state vis-a-vis your readiness to change? Because unless you change your thinking, your behavior will not change. That's as true for an individual as it is for a corporation. So some people say to me, especially the employees, when they hear me talk like this, they're going, David, are you trying to brainwash me? And I thought to myself when someone first said that, and I said, you're absolutely right. If brainwashing means you need to think differently to save this job, to save this industry, what do you think of when I say textiles in America? It's gone. So if brainwashing means change the way you think in order to save your job, to save an industry, guess what? If we started retaining these jobs, guess what would happen? Employment. How about this? You could put a real dent in unemployment in America. And guess what? All these people are no longer receiving unemployment checks. You know what they're doing? They're paying taxes. Do you know what that would do to our debt? Do you know the United States government runs on $300 billion a month? Do you know how much we take in? $180 billion. Do you know we borrow $120 billion a month? 41 cents on every dollar we spend, we borrow. There's a way to change this. But people have to think differently in corporate America. Whose culture is it? If you're involved in a change process, what do you suppose the answer is? I bet you're already going to be A students. Whose culture? Ours. And ours means every employee needs to look in the mirror in the morning and saying, it's not the us versus them. Just go into the break room and you're going to hear, they make me do this, they're doing this to us, they're squeezing me like a turnip, they. And people are smart. They've memorized the HR, the human resources policies and procedures to figure out exactly what can they get away with without being fired. They're smart people and they don't care because they're treated so poorly. So instead they'll just try to get whatever they can and give you the lowest common denominator, which translates into poor productivity, poor efficiency, poor quality. No wonder we're having a hard time competing. So everyone has to be an owner and say, you know what, this is my company. My company is treating me with respect. My company is giving me world-class training. My company is giving me boardroom awareness, and it's not one at a time. My clients, every single quarter, the CEO and the CFO go to every single employee at every single location, and they give them the state of the financial business, and the plant managers do it once a month. So that every quarter they are up to date. If it's a publicly traded company, we'll teach them how to read the financials. If it's private equity, the scoreboard is usually EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. That's just the benchmark of private equity. And every single employee knows what they do today to impact that number that guarantees that they will be able to secure their future, that their industry will stay intact. When can you change? There are three options: past, present, and future. I'll ask you a philosophical question. Where is the past?
Behind us.
Behind us. Does it exist?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. If it doesn't exist, where does it exist? Ah! The past is in your present memory. It's your self-perception of the way in which we've always done things. What holds people back every day in a company, or you yourself, going about an individual change process, is you're held back by your mental perception about, which is the summation of all of your life's experiences. And guess what? The past doesn't really exist except in your present memory. That's why when traumatic things happen to people in their past, it continues to haunt them. Let's say it's abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. They carry that around in their life. And the only way to unleash it is to make a break from the past. And when can you make a break from the past? Can you make a break from the past in the past? No, it doesn't exist. How about the future? Where is the future?
Not here yet.
It's not here yet. So if the future exists, where does it exist? In your present mind. This is also simple. The past is your present memory. The future is your present hopes, dreams, and ambitions. If you want to execute a goal, the only time you can take an action step is in the present moment. It's the only time that exists if you are on a true change plan. It's how AA works, Alcoholics Anonymous. What you do is you say to yourself, if you're a member of that, you say, "Hi, my name's David, I'm an alcoholic." Even if you've been sober for 30 years. Because the mindset is, it's easy to resist the next drink if you just say to yourself beforehand, "No thank you, I'm an alcoholic." Even if you've been sober for 30 years, the whole philosophy is to live in the present moment. I think that's very powerful. And you know what? That's what we do with entire corporations. It's not just good for individuals. It's corporations overcoming the addiction of the way in which we've always done things. And until you kind of talk truthfully to people that everyone needs to own the process, it's our culture, you need to understand it's all in your head, and the only time you can affect change is right now. Not yesterday, not putting it off till tomorrow. I have a diet book that I've written in my head, and it goes like this. The title of it is the whole book. Eat less, exercise more. If you eat less and exercise more, that's it. That's the whole book. And you go to Barnes & Noble, the largest section is the diet book. They have a new one by your blood type. O negative, eat this. A positive, do this. I'm thinking to myself, come on. Eat less, exercise more. In the present moment. What gets the ball rolling? Let's say you understand that the culture of you and your business is in the mind. Let's say everyone's willing to take responsibility to own it, and let's say everyone's willing to act now. That's not enough. What gets the ball rolling? Knowledge. It could be that you're committed to a change process yourself, you're willing to pay the price, you're willing to act now, but you need some help. You need some more tools. You need some education, maybe you need a personal coach, maybe you need some kind of information. In the case of a corporation, it's going to be, we need constant updates on the competition. We call it competitive intelligence, and it shouldn't just be happening in the marketing and sales department and product development. Everyone needs to understand the competition because that's how you get motivated. It's true in athletics. Do you think if you're about ready to play in the Super Bowl, do you know everything about the competition? Down to the player's personal habits and weaknesses, and you're going to develop a whole game plan? Well, it's no different in the competitive field of global business. So knowledge is something that educating the workforce on an ongoing basis is absolutely critical. If the culture is in your mind, we're coming down to the chase scene, if the culture is in your mind, can you see my mind? No. How do you know I have one? By my actions, yes. If I'm smiling, if I'm speaking, if I'm sounding excited about it, you know, then, but if I'm, how about this? Vince just introduces me and I come up like this. Okay, Vince, and David and I came in the same year, 1982, give a round for David Shaner. And then I come in like this. Hi, everyone. And what are you thinking about my mental state? He's nervous, he's shaking, he's going to have a heart attack. Holy cow, Vince, help the man. Because, or look, we blush when we're embarrassed. We jump for joy. We shake when we're nervous. We are constantly reading someone else's mental state by what kind of cues they're giving us all the time. That's how we live. That's how we normally... So people say to me, how can you measure changing mind? Because if culture is in the mind, and that's what we're trying to change, how do you know if you're being successful? Guess what? Your mental state always leads to behaviors. So how do you know whether or not you're making progress on your personal change journey? Your behavior. You stop drinking. You're smoking less. You are losing weight. And people will notice by your behavior. It's called, don't just tell me the words, your actions have to change. And that's the toughest nut I have to crack with senior management. Because imagine how powerful it is when a previously autocratic CEO sees the light, changes, and everyone around that person realizes, holy cow, this person has developed themselves spiritually. They're actually thinking, you know what, I tell the CEO, look, you make a lot of money. You're in a position of power and authority. What are you actually doing with it? I ask the question, what's your legacy? If you get hit by a bus tomorrow, what are people going to think about how you used your gifts? You can use the gifts by giving all your employees the tools to succeed and compete and secure their future. But if you continue to only think about you and shareholder value and just outsource everyone, I say, how can you go to sleep at night? When behavior changes, it's remarkable how the people around you notice, just like if you haven't seen a friend in 6 months and you've lost 15 pounds. And they're all over you on, wow, you look great. Or, you know what, did you stop smoking? Because I've been with you 2 days now, you haven't smoked. And you know what? When behavior changes and you start getting positive compliments from people, like we're actually turned the corner on quality or efficiency or productivity, or the numbers got better in the company, guess what? People take tremendous pride because we're all competitive too. And we would all like to secure our future. Why do people change? At the end of the day, benefits. You have to be able to perceive, what would it be like? I really want to stop smoking. I really want to stop this. I want to exercise more. Whatever I want to spend more time with the kids. I want to manage my time better. Whatever it is, you have to have a clear notion of what's on the other side of your change process. And since you haven't gone there before, it's kind of like Star Trek. Remember? To boldly go where no man has gone before. That's what's scary about change. You're stepping over into a place you haven't been, and you don't know if you're going to be really successful. Why do people actually go to work? Yeah, a paycheck. If we were all, if we had, $1 billion or something, maybe we'd say, you know what, I'm just going to pursue my hobbies. Because that'd be great. You don't have to worry about money. Well, most people have to worry about money, and so they go to work for a paycheck. Well, guess what? How are managers in big businesses incentivized? Yeah, they get what I call a stake in the outcome. They get bonus pay. It's called pay for performance. Well, I'm saying to my clients, don't be greedy. We create pay for performance programs based on meeting financial targets where everyone in the company is bonus eligible.